I'm standing in a stuffy courtroom, fluorescent lights buzzing like angry hornets overhead, my heart slamming against my ribs so hard I swear the judge can hear it. Across the room, my sister, the perfect one, the golden child, smirks at me from her lawyer's side, her manicured nails tapping a rhythm of smug victory on the table. She's just inherited everything. Our parents' estate, the house I grew up in, $2 million that was supposed to be mine too. All because of a updated will she found after Dad's funeral. But here's the kicker. I know it's fake, and in my trembling hand, a single faded sketch from my so-called useless college days, the one thing they all mocked me for chasing. That sketch? It's about to unravel her entire lie, in front of everyone, her empire of deceit crashing down. Stay with me, because what happens next? It's the kind of justice that doesn't just even the score, it rewrites the game. If you've ever been the black sheep, the one your family dismissed, laughed at, made to feel small just for daring to dream different, then this story's for you. It's raw, it's real, and it's got that sweet sting of payback you've been craving. So, if you're ready to feel seen, hit that like button right now, subscribe and ring the bell, because we're diving into Reddit's most epic revenge tales, and trust me, this one's gonna leave you cheering. Let's get into it. My name's Elena, or at least that's what I'll go by here, because some wounds are too fresh to scratch with real names. I grew up in a cookie-cutter suburb outside Chicago, the kind of place where lawns are mowed twice a week and secrets fester like mold behind closed doors. Our house was a colonial, split-level, white siding gleaming under the summer sun. But inside, it was a battlefield disguised as a family dinner table. Mom and Dad were the poster children for old-school ambition. Dad owned a mid-sized accounting firm, the kind that crunched numbers for local businesses, kept the lights on, but never made him rich. Mom was his perfect counterpart, a high school guidance counselor who doled out practical advice like bitter pills. "Art's a hobby, Elena," she'd say, her lips pursing like she'd tasted something sour. "Not a career." And then there was my sister, Victoria. Vicky. God, even saying her name now twists something sharp in my gut. 2 years older, she was everything I wasn't. Straight A student, captain of the debate team, the one who interned at Dad's firm in high school, filing papers with a smile that screamed, "Future CEO." Blonde hair always in that effortless wave, eyes like polished emeralds, the kind that made teachers lean in and boys stutter. She was their golden child, the one who'd make it. And me? I was the afterthought, the dreamer with paint under her nails and charcoal smudges on her jeans. It started small, the mocking. Back in high school, when I told them I wanted to study fine arts at the University of Illinois. "Fine arts," Dad had barked, his fork clattering against his plate at dinner that night. The steam from Mom's pot roast still curled in the air, heavy with rosemary and resentment. "What are you going to do, Elena? Draw portraits for pennies on the street corner? Get a real degree, business, law, something useful." Vicky chimed in, of course, her voice all honeyed sympathy laced with venom. "Come on, Ellie, you know Dad's right. I mean, look at me. I'm pre-law at Northwestern. That's where the money is." She reached across the table, patting my hand like I was a child throwing a tantrum. Her touch was cool, condescending. I yanked away, feeling heat flood my cheeks, my throat tightening like a noose. Useless. The word echoed in my skull, bouncing off the walls of my ribcage. Dreamer. Failure. But I went anyway. Borrowed the tuition from student loans, worked doubles at a campus coffee shop, smelling like burnt espresso and regret every night when I collapsed into my dorm bed. 4 years of late-night sketches, critiques that shredded my soul, professors who saw the fire in my lines when my family only saw smoke. I graduated with a BFA in illustration and graphic design, honors even. But when I came home for the ceremony, crickets. Vicky sent a text. "Congrats. Off to crush my LSATs." Mom forwarded job listings for graphic design gigs that paid peanuts. Dad? He just sighed, like I'd disappointed him by existing. Life after college was a grind. I scraped by in a tiny studio apartment in Wicker Park, freelancing logos for startups that ghosted me after the first draft. Ramen nights blurred into mornings where I'd stare at my portfolio on the laptop screen, fingers hovering over "send" for applications that felt like begging. "See?" Vicky would say on our rare calls, her voice tinny through the phone speaker. "Told you it was useless. But hey, you can always come work at Dad's firm." Filing clerk, entry level. I'd bite my tongue until it bled, tasting copper and forcing a laugh. Useless. The word burrowed deeper, a splinter under my skin. Powerless. Invisible. Like I was shouting into a void and the only echo was their disappointment. But I kept drawing. In stolen moments, I'd sketch the world as I wished it could be. Fierce women with eyes like storm clouds, cities rebuilt from ashes. It was my armor, my quiet rebellion. Fast forward 5 years. Dad's heart attack hits like a freight train. One Tuesday morning, I'm mid-sketch for a book cover gig, a fantasy novel about lost heirs and forged crowns. Irony much? When Mom's call shatters the quiet. "He's gone, Elena. Just gone." Her voice cracks, a porcelain doll finally fracturing. I drop everything, race to the hospital in a cab that reeks of stale coffee and despair. The sterile halls swallow me whole, beeping monitors mocking my shallow breaths. Vicky's already there, of course, composed in her black sheath dress, holding Mom's hand like a lifeline. She shoots me a look. Pity? Triumph? Hard to tell through the blur of tears. The funeral's a blur of casseroles and condolences, neighbors whispering about Dad's sudden passing. But in the weeks after, as we sift through his affairs, the real storm brews. The will reading. Oh God, that mahogany-paneled office in Dad's lawyer's firm, the air thick with leather and old money, sunlight slanting through blinds like accusatory fingers. Mr. Hargrove, the attorney, clears his throat, glasses perched on his nose like a judge's gavel. Edward's estate is valued at approximately $2 million, including the family home and investments. My breath catches. Dad had always promised fairness. Half to each daughter, a nod to the two sides of his heart, he'd joked. But as Hargrove drones on, my stomach plummets. Vicky gets it all. The house, the savings, everything. Per the updated will from last year, he says, sliding a crisp document across the desk. Updated? Dad hadn't mentioned anything. I lean forward, palms slick against the armrests, the wood cool and unyielding under my fingers. That can't be right. He told me. We talked about it. My voice wavers, a thin thread fraying. Vicky's eyes flick to mine, cool, calculating. "Ellie, sweetie, Dad changed his mind. He saw how committed I was to the family legacy. You know, with my law degree now. It's practical. Practical." There's that word again, twisting like a knife. Mom nods weakly, her eyes red-rimmed but distant. "Your father wanted stability, Elena. Vicky's the one who can handle it." I feel it then. The betrayal uncoiling in my chest, hot and venomous. My nails dig into my palms, crescent moons of pain grounding me as the room spins. They chose her. Again. Not just the money, the validation, the erasure of me. Laughter bubbles up, bitter and unbidden, escaping as a choke. Stability? That's what you call screwing over your own daughter? Vicky's lips thin, her hand fluttering to her throat like I've slapped her. "Don't make a scene, Elena. It's what's best." Hargrove shifts uncomfortably, but no one stops her. No one. That night, alone in my apartment, the walls close in. Rain lashes the window panes, a relentless drumbeat mirroring the thud in my veins. I pace the threadbare carpet, fists clenched until my knuckles whiten, useless, unwanted. The will sits on my coffee table, mocking me. I snatch it up, flipping pages under the harsh glow of my desk lamp. Signatures, dates, Dad's looping E, but something nags. The ink looks too fresh, the notary seal. off-center, and there, in the margin, a faint crease, like it had been folded wrong. My hands tremble as I grab my sketch pad, the one relic from college I can't let go. Years of training flood back, the eye for detail, the way a single line can betray a forgery. Artists don't just create, we dissect. We see the lies in the strokes. "This isn't right," I whisper to the empty room, my breath fogging the page. Heart pounding, I dig out my old textbooks, forensic art techniques, dog-eared and yellowed. What if... The next days blur into obsession. By day, I nod through estate meetings, Vicky preening like a peacock in her new role as executor. She'd swoop in, clipboard in hand, dictating terms with that lawyer speak she'd practiced in mirrors. "Mom, the house needs staging for sale, top dollar, you know." Mom, grief-stricken and pliable, just murmured agreements. Vicky's barbs flew freely now, no filter. At one lunch, forced family bonding at a diner smelling of grease and faded dreams, she leaned in, voice low and laced with faux concern. "Ellie, maybe this is a sign. Time to get a real job. Dad would have wanted you to move on." Move on? From my own life? My fork scrapes the plate, the screech cutting through her words. Heat crawls up my neck, a flush of rage I swallow down. She's stealing everything, and they let her. Inside, my mind races. Not if I can prove it, not if it's fake. Nights, I pored over scans of the will on my laptop, magnification cranked to 300%. My useless degree? It was a superpower. Now I traced the signature with a stylus, layering digital overlays from Dad's old checks. The pressure of his pen, the slight hook in the L mismatches everywhere. The date? Ink analysis from a kit I'd ordered overnight. UV light revealing undertones that screamed recent. And the notary? A quick call to the county office posing as a concerned relative confirmed no record but proof wasn't enough. I needed experts, money I didn't have. Desperation clawed at me, a wild animal in my throat. I pawned my grandmother's necklace, the one Dad had given me for my 21st, whispering, "You're the artist in the family, kiddo." Tears stung as the pawnbroker's lights buzzed, but the $500 bought me a consultation with a forensic document examiner. Downtown Dr. Liang was a wiry woman in her 60s, glasses chained to her neck, office cluttered with microscopes and ink vials that smelled faintly of chemicals and vindication. "Amateur work," she said after an hour, peering at my printouts. Her voice was clipped, precise, a surgeon's scalpel. "The forgery's sloppy pressure inconsistencies here. See the feathering? And the seal's a rubber stamp reproduction. Cheap." My pulse thrummed in my ears. A war drum. "Can you testify?" She arched a brow. "In court? That's extra, and you'll need a lawyer." Lawyer. The word tasted like ash. I had none. Savings? Zilch. But as I rode the L train home, city lights streaking like shooting stars, resolve hardened in my core. They underestimated me. Let them try. I crowdfunded quietly, a GoFundMe titled "Justice for an Artist's Legacy," vague enough to dodge family eyes. Friends from art school chipped in strangers, moved by snippets of my story. $8,000 in 2 weeks. Enough. The lawsuit filed on a crisp October morning, wind whipping my coat like vengeful ghosts as I stepped into the clerk's office pro se, me against the world. Vicky's lawyer, a slick suit named Carmichael, laughed when served. I heard it secondhand from Mom, her voice quavering on the phone. "He's saying it's frivolous, Elena, drop it. For the family." Family. The word curdled in my mouth, but I didn't drop it. Oh no. I dug deeper. Subpoenas for bank records. Vicky's consulting fees from Dad's firm spiking months before his death. Emails I'd hacked from a shared family drive. Don't judge. Desperation breeds hackers. One from her to a shady document service in the city. Need urgent update to estate docs discreet. Tension coiled tighter with each discovery. Sleepless nights, coffee breath and bleary eyes. My apartment a war room of highlighters and legal pads. Vicky escalated, of course. Whispers to relatives. Ellie's unhinged, grieving weird. At Thanksgiving, the last before the trial, she cornered me in the kitchen, turkey carcass cooling on the counter, her breath hot with wine. "You're embarrassing us. Dad would hate this. Hate this? Her lies? My fight? I met her gaze, steel in my spine. Or maybe he'd hate what you're doing to his memory. My voice was steady, but inside, a storm. Fear gnawed. What if I lost? Publicly shamed, pockets empty, family fractured forever. But the powerlessness? It fueled me, no more. Trial day dawned gray and unforgiving, Chicago wind howling like a banshee. I dressed in my one blazer, thrift store chic, sleeves rolled to hide trembling hands. The courthouse loomed, marble steps slick with drizzle, echoing my footsteps like judgment. Inside, the air hummed with low voices and rustling papers. Vicky sat front row, legs crossed, diamond earrings, my inheritance funded, glinting like daggers. Mom beside her, face a mask of weary defeat. Opening arguments, Carmichael paints me as the jealous sibling, delusional artist grasping at shadows. Laughter ripples from the jury, soft, but it stabs. My turn. Voice cracking at first, then steady. This isn't about jealousy, it's about truth, and I'll show you the lines that don't lie. Witnesses drone by. Mom takes the stand, eyes downcast, voice a whisper. Edward, he adored Elena, but Vicky was so driven to forgery. I cross her gently, heart aching as she fidgets with her handkerchief. Mom, did Dad ever mention changing the will? She hesitates, glances at Vicky. No. Vicky's testimony? A masterclass in gaslighting. I found the will in his desk. He must have done it quietly, for the business. Her eyes well up on cue, crocodile tears. Jury murmurs sympathy. Whew. Rage boils in me, a kettle whistling. Liar. But I wait, bide. Then, the turning point. My evidence. Dr. Liang strides in, briefcase clicking like a countdown. She sets up the projector, the will magnified on screen, pixels dissecting the deceit. Exhibit A, ink dating. Carbon-14 analysis shows application within 6 months. Mr. Hargrove dated it 2 years prior. Gasps. Vicky shifts, her smirk faltering. But I save the best. My sketches. I approach the bench, unfolding that old college piece, a forensic recreation I'd drawn overnight, overlays transparent on acetate. Your Honor, as an illustrator trained in precision rendering, I layer it over the will's scan, projected huge. The mismatches glow. Dad's real signature, fluid and bold, versus the forgery's hesitant drag. See here? The baseline wavers, classic sign of tracing. And this crease? From my original sketch of Dad's hand, done last Christmas. It matches the fold in the fake. The courtroom stills. A pin could drop. Vicky's face drains, porcelain cracking to ash white. Her lawyer objects, frantic. Irrelevant, hearsay artistry. But the judge leans in, brow furrowed. Overruled. Proceed, Ms. Rivera. Proceed I do. Hours of testimony, my voice raw but unyielding. Sensory overload, the creak of chairs, the faint must of old books, the metallic tang of fear sweat from Vicky's side. Inside, my thoughts whirl. This is for every useless they threw, for the nights I cried into my pillow, wondering if I was enough. Determination steals me, a quiet roar. And then, the verdict. 2 days of deliberation feel like eternity, each tick of my wall clock a hammer blow. I chain-smoke menthols on the fire escape. Bad habit, but tonight, necessary armor. Rain slicks the city below, neon reflections pooling like spilled blood. What if they rule against me? The fear whispers, slimy and insistent. Alone, broken. But I crush it. No, I've seen the truth. They will too. Court reconvenes at 10 a.m. sharp. The gallery's packed now, relatives I'd ghosted, reporters sniffing drama. Vicky's there, armor cracked, dark circles under her eyes, fingers twisting her necklace like a noose. Mom's beside her, but her gaze flicks to me. Searching? Hopeful? Bailiff calls order. Judge Ellis, stern woman with silver-streaked hair and eyes like laser sights, adjusts her glasses. The room holds its breath, air thick as fog. After careful review, she intones, voice booming off the oak panels. The court finds the contested will to be a forgery. The original 2018 document stands. Estate divided equally between Elena Rivera and Victoria Rivera. Time fractures. Cheers erupt, muffled, shocked. I grip the table, knuckles bone white, a sob clawing up my throat. Not tears of loss, triumph, pure electric validation surging through me like lightning. I did it. Me, the useless one. Vicky? She explodes. This is outrageous, she shrieks, lurching to her feet, chair scraping like nails on chalkboard. Her face contorts, that perfect mask shattering into red-flushed fury, veins bulging at her temples. She's lying. Her stupid drawings. That's not evidence. She jabs a finger at me, manicured nail chipped, voice pitching to a hysterical wail. You bitch! You ruined everything! Carmichael hauls her back, hissing, Victoria, sit! But she's unraveling, live wire wild. Mom, tell them I deserved it! Mom recoils, hand to mouth, horror dawning in her eyes. For the first time, she sees, really sees. The jury stares, whispers rippling. Fraud? Her own sister? Security edges forward as Vicky lunges toward the bar, tears streaming black mascara rivers down her cheeks. I did it for us, for the family. You were always the weak one, Ellie, too busy doodling to contribute. Her words hang, poisonous, but they boomerang. The judge bangs her gavel, crack, like thunder. Order! Ms. Rivera, you'll be hearing from the DA on perjury and fraud charges. Court adjourned. Vicky's dragged out, kicking, screaming obscenities that echo down the hall. I'll sue you! You'll pay! But her eyes meet mine one last. Wild, defeated. The golden child, dethroned. Humiliated, exposed. I collapse into my seat, chest heaving, laughing through tears, laughter bubbling through tears. Relief crashes over me, waves eroding years of doubt. The house? Mine to share or sell. The money? Freedom. But more? Justice. The kind that mends fractures you didn't know were bleeding. Mom approaches hesitantly post-adjournment, arms outstretched. Elena, I'm so sorry. Her hug is frail, scented with Chanel No. 5 and regret. I hold her, but loosely. Forgiveness? Maybe later. For now, victory tastes like sweet, sharp vindication. In the end, karma isn't some cosmic boomerang. It's the quiet power of refusing to stay small. They called my skills useless, but they were the key to unlocking truth. What's your useless superpower, the one the world overlooks? Hold on to it. It might just save you one day. Whew! If Elena's story had you fist-pumping or tearing up, smash that like button. It fuels more tales like this. Drop in the comments, what's the wildest, useless skill that's come in clutch for you? Or your own revenge dream? Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join the squad for weekly Reddit roasts and heart tugs. Thanks for watching. You're epic. See you next time.